Good evening and welcome to the Monday, May 18th Redevelopment Commission meeting here in Speedway. We're hosting a Zoom meeting this evening to be in compliance with the social distancing requirements of the state. And we have publicly posted the meeting details in accordance with all state guidelines. We'll begin by a call to order with the members of the Redevelopment Commission. On the Zoom meeting is Rhonda Schwartz, Jennifer Miller, Gordon Rundle. Those are the three Redevelopment Commission board members, as well as Dr. Terry Reed representing the school board. Tim Gropp is here with me. He's the Economic Development Director, and Tim Ramian is also on the meeting as serving as the Executive Assistant for this meeting. Now that we've confirmed that we have a quorum, we'll proceed with the meeting and move on to public comment.
We received no public comments this evening.
All right. And we are also completely socially distanced here in the audience with no public here in attendance. Review and consent for the meeting minutes from our regular session from April 20th of 2020. Those were distributed prior to the meeting. And did anyone have any corrections or edits for those minutes? Hearing no suggestions there, we'll approve those minutes by consent. And moving on to approval of claims. Do you want to go over any of the claims for this month?
Very small amount of claims, one page, mostly just our usual bills as well as payroll, so nothing to report this month.
Very good. Any questions from the Redevelopment Commission in regards to the claims? We need to make a motion to approve those. Yeah, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the claims as submitted.
I'll second.
With a motion and a second, we will vote on the approval of the claims. I'll call each of you out by name, and please respond with your response. Rhonda?
Approved.
Jennifer?
Approved.
Gordon?
Approved.
And I also approve. Claims are approved. And at this point in the meeting, we'll move to the director's report and hear from Mr. Gropp.
All right. Thank you, Mr. President. The biggest thing going on right now is just adjusting to the reopening of the economy, trying to follow all the orders both from the state level as well as the local level. So we are currently working to be as flexible as we can, specifically with the opening of the restaurants in town starting this Friday, assuming that holds to be true. So we just ask that if there is a restaurant that needs specific accommodations, please reach out to me in my office, and I will be the point person to help walk through that process. Our big concern from the town's aspect is that the public's safe. So we're working to be as accommodating as possible to understand that restaurants that are trying to open are trying to maximize their outdoor seating. We're going to have some that are using parking spaces on Main or 15th that will be blocking off with barricades. We've had some requests for some pickup only spots as well. So we're working through any requests we get, assuming we can accommodate it. We want to be as flexible as possible and still stay within the guidelines of the Marion County Health Department's order. So again, reach out to my office. We'll see if we can help you any way we can.
And that just to be clear, that does differ from the state's current Back on Track program, because Marion County has a separate set of guidelines that we're following.
It does. The county can be stricter than the state's guidelines, but cannot be more lenient. So per the health department's recommendations, they've chosen to be a little more strict on the reopening. We noticed a significant amount of people at retail today outside of our office. Burlington opened back up, and there was quite a line of people waiting to get in there, and the parking lot was full again. So different businesses are rolling out at different times. The one that probably needs the most accommodation because they required all seating to be outside was the restaurants, which we're kind of focusing on now, and that's just because we need to be able to maintain sidewalks open, keep social distancing guidelines, yet try to maximize many seating availability so that we can accommodate, hopefully in a short term. We're hoping this is just through early June, and then they can start opening back up indoors and get kind of back to normal. But if you have a question or you have a request for us to look at, please get a hold of my office and we'll see what we can do to help you out. On a project side, we're anticipating the fencing for 10th and Poco to go up anytime. The weather hasn't really been accommodating. They still have a little bit of grading to do on site, so as soon as that's done, the fencing should be here now, and that project will be coming close to being wrapped up. We're excited about that. Same thing on Gilman Street. The construction is just down to interior build out and possibly a little bit of exterior cleanup, but that project's looking really nice. We are working on reviewing the plans for the expansion for OMR as well. We're hoping that happens this summer. Everything seems to be in line, and again, we're in the review process, so we don't have an exact timeline, but things are going well there. 2500 is kind of back on track. We've worked through the I-74 road issues, and the concrete's being crushed and used on site. I did receive an updated timeline just prior to this meeting. I haven't had a lot of time to look at it, but it looks like they're shooting for very beginning of August to be completed, so a little bit behind our timeline. We're hoping to be done by right about now, actually, but with the delays of the road and just muddy weather and everything else, it's stretched out a little bit. But in general, things are going really, really well on the construction side out there. Storm and sewer are getting put in. Most of the utilities are either moved or contracts have been signed to moved. And then dirt work's progressing as they crush all the concrete that was on site and clean it up. So we feel good about the progress out there, and we'll keep you posted as new updates happen.
Very good, thank you. Does anyone have any questions about any of those projects for Mr. Grupp? Looks like everybody's good. Moving on to new business. Tim, do you want to walk us through the new business?
Sure. The first one is the farmers market is coming back for Speedway and is allowed to operate at any time. We had taken this request to the town council last week, mainly because farmers markets were allowed to open earlier than a lot of others, so we didn't want to miss a week and potentially lose vendors. So we did review their plan for how they're going to handle social distancing and the aspects to COVID-19. There are specific guidelines to farmers markets that are out there from the health department. Carol Wellman reviewed a plan, sent us a plan. We had it reviewed with Chief Fishburne in the fire department. He had no problems with it. We had one recommendation about limiting entrances and exits so we can control if too many people come, and Carol is working on that. In addition, we have received additionally insured coverage from them for the Redevelopment Commission in town for use of the parking lot at 1068 Main Street. And then we have confirmed with the health department that the permits needed to operate are in place. Carol did come back and ask for if she would be allowed to place a porta pot on the property for about a month. They typically are allowed to use SIK's bathrooms. Unfortunately, SIK hasn't been able to open yet due to the reopening plan, so there's a little gap there. I would recommend if she does that, we tuck it in the back of the parking lot, and that she keeps it locked anytime beyond the farmer's market being open. Beyond that, we'll try to accommodate that request and make sure that it's not unsightly, and that's all I have.
That 1086 Main Street location, that's the War Memorial, correct? Right, adjacent to
Correct.
the B&O Trail.
Used to be a IPL substation, and the War Memorial's in the front.
Okay, perfect. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Gropp in regards to that new business? If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of the farmers market use of the SRC lot located at 1068 Main Street.
Mr. President, I make a motion that we approve the farmer's market use of the lot located at 1068 Main Street.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jennifer. And we will do a roll call vote on the approval for that. Rhonda?
I approve.
Gordon?
I approve.
And Jennifer?
I approve.
I approve as well. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. And second item of new business is Resolution 2020-03, resolution determining the need to capture the incremental assessed valuation.
All right. This is an annual compliance requirement in the state statute for redevelopment commissions. Every year we are to determine if we have any money that could pass through to overlapping taxing units. If we're beyond 200% of our capacity, we need to pay our bonds, leases, requirements that are on the books. It automatically passes through, but anything under that, you can decide whether you want to keep for projects or additional expenses that you might have, or pass it through. The Speedway, we don't have exact numbers this year. It's a little unique, just because the property taxes are delayed, and with COVID-19, we're not sure what will happen. But we have never been close to that 200%. We're actually pretty close. We pay our bonds. We have a little bit extra to do a project here or there, as you all know. We're a pretty fiscally responsible unit, so we do not have anything that will be passing through to the overlapping taxing units. This resolution is required to be passed by June 15th every year, which happens to be our regularly scheduled June meeting. So we have to have it passed, and then you have to send it notification to the overlapping taxing units, as well as publish it down in Marion County, so they can calculate your estimates for the next year. So we had to go ahead and pass this resolution this month. Again, I've checked in with both our financial consultant as well as our attorneys on this, and everyone feels comfortable. The resolution is accurate, and we request your approval.
Very good. Appreciate that. With that, I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 2020-03.
I'll do it. We're on a race for the mic. Mr. President, I'll make a motion to pass Resolution 2020-03 to determine the need to capture the incremental assessed valuations.
Thank you, Gordon.
Second.
And with that, we'll take a roll call vote. Rhonda?
Approve.
Gordon?
Approved.
And Jennifer?
Approve.
And I approve as well. Motion passes 4-0.
Just note, we'll need all members to sign the resolution and the claims, so we'll have Tim Ramey and coordinate that this week at some point.
Okay, Tim will reach out with you to set up, make arrangements for you to make a socially distanced signature. That concludes the new business. No old business this evening. Does anyone have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Any announcements, anything along those lines?
I'd just like to say that I know most of you are probably aware that IMS is going to do something for our graduates in 2020, which is really nice. They'll probably remember that more than they would have had done in the auditorium. I'm certain the administrators will have a much less stressful night, because I remember when I was on the board, they were always worried about yahoo and yelling and you can't hear people. But it's a good effort by the IMS.
Great gesture by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway to provide that opportunity for the graduating students from Speedway High School.
Support your farmers market, support your local businesses. Restaurants open this Friday, hopefully.
Yeah. If you have any questions in regards to the current phase, I guess, the backontrack.gov, you can find that, and then Marion County or indy.gov.
Yep.
The update for the COVID-19 current status, and then help your neighbors and stay informed, and help anybody you can in the neighborhood, and stay responsible. So if anybody else has any other comments, or if not, we'll adjourn the meeting. Hearing none, we'll adjourn by consent. Perfect. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Thank you.